Congratulations, everybody. We finally made it. Nintendo just officially, yes, officially revealed the Switch 2, and yes, that's the name. We'll come back to that here in just a moment, but there's no more rumors, there's no more leaks, it's 100% real, and we got some really interesting information and teases from this trailer reveal. Before we get started, though, I do want to go ahead and thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you all just so very much for what you do, and I truly, truly do appreciate you all. I also want to go ahead and give Nate the Hate some credit for these leaks as well. He's the one that broke the news that its reveal would be today on January 16th, and I've seen the comments. People have been ragging on Nate all week long, and even in my comments, I've seen people call him a fraud and everything else. So Nate has every right to run some victory laps right now, and this is the exact reason that I cover rumors on this channel. I try to cover people who have a good reputation, and ever since he leaked Hi-Fi Rush for rival consoles, pretty much since then, I've viewed him as a legitimate insider, and he once again has proven himself today. So, big congrats to Nate the Hate, but yeah, let's just gonna get right into this trailer. This was only a 2-minute reveal, and it's pretty much exactly what the leaks told us. If you've been following the leaks these past few months, there's really not a lot from this reveal that's going to surprise you other than a few small details. The leaked design was pinpoint accurate from the blue and orange inline collars, the curved dock, to its size, the magnetic Joy-Cons, and even to its U-shaped kickstand. So we've already seen this design, but it is now 100% official, and that is actually very exciting. Now, I will say, though, that kickstand, that U-shaped kickstand, it goes way back. I do kind of wonder if that will have any functionality in the tabletop mode, because the most interesting part about this reveal is the tease for that mysterious IR sensor on the side of the Joy-Cons in the trailer. They seemingly tease mouse functionality. You flip the Joy-Cons over on their side and you insert them into these little pads, and then they can just glide across the surface. I mean, that's actually a huge addition because it's no secret that certain games and certain genres just simply work better on a PC with a mouse. Shooters and RTS games immediately comes to mind. And this could be Nintendo's way of bringing the essence of a mouse over to the Switch 2. With this, suddenly, more games and more genres just became a lot more interesting on the Switch 2 thanks to this mouse-like ability. Now, I do kind of wonder how comfortable this will be because, you know, the Joy-Cons are thin. It's going to be more tall and narrow than what you're going to get from a mouse. So I don't think it's going to necessarily be as comfortable as a traditional mouse. But even still, I could easily see developers utilizing this feature, and that's one of the things about this option. You know, I know people are going to come out and say, oh, well, the Switch 2 just looks like the regular Switch, but bigger. You know, how boring. But if you want that Nintendo Switch innovation, here it is. This is something that no other mainline console maker is doing, and it adds to the Switch 2's uniqueness. Now, Lenovo did this with the Lenovo Legion Go, but again, this is a big addition for a mainline console that a lot of people are going to buy. I mean, we're talking about possibly 100+ million people are going to buy into this console, and I'm really excited to see how they utilize this feature. I mean, the Joy-Cons themselves, though, I think they look really nice in this trailer. I like the liquid collar design and the magnetic rails that they're showing off here. They even have it working with their dog-like controller add-on. That's going to make a comeback if you want to use that for TV mode. The way the magnetic rails stick out from the controller, though, that might make them feel a little bit more comfortable if you just want to use one Joy-Con as a controller. The SL and SR buttons seem to be bigger. The Joy-Cons themselves are bigger. And if anything else, I think the Switch 2 just looks a lot more premium than the Switch 1. And because it is just an overall bigger device, I think it's going to be a lot more comfortable for adults as opposed to it just being comfortable for kids. So I really do like the design. And again, I know people are going to come out and they're going to say, well, it just looks like the Switch 1. But that's really kind of the point. You know, most people who enjoyed the Switch, including myself, weren't asking for a redesign in the first place. We want the same thing, but we just want it with more power. And it seems like Nintendo heard that loud and clear. This idea that Nintendo needs to completely reinvent themselves with every single console, I think is just blasphemous. The Switch 1 is the third best-selling console ever made for a very good reason. People liked what they did. So don't change what ain't broke, right? So that's all I have to kind of say about that. But speaking of similarities, this is the first time in Nintendo's history that they're following up a previous console with a sequential number. They're taking a page out of PlayStation's book by just simply naming it the Switch 2, and in my opinion, this is very much what they should have done. I mean, sure, the Super Switch has a ring to it. I like the name of that and everything, but simplicity sells. Something that everybody kind of needs to understand is that not everybody follows game news like we do. I mean, I could easily see little Timmy or little Sally's mom going into a store during the holiday season and they want to pick up the new Switch. But then they accidentally get the Switch OLED because they don't really know any better and they do look similar. Well, that right there is the reason why a name is just so important. Switch 2 will easily speak to people in and, more importantly, out of the know. It's going to be easily understood that the Switch 2 is the newest model. So I think Nintendo is doing the right and also the logical thing by naming it the Switch 2. For me, though, and I said this a few days ago, even though the hardware reveal is exciting in its own right, I'm actually much more excited about the software. Yeah, I think the console looks nice and everything. It's kind of what we expected, but it's the games that I really want to see. And even though they didn't reveal a lot of that today, they actually teased a new Mario Kart. Now, some people might have just thought this was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe running via backwards compatibility, but it actually appears that's not the case, and there's two reasons for this. One is that Donkey Kong has a redesign in this new clip, which actually leads into the rumors that we might be getting a new Donkey Kong game as well. I mean, I hope that's the case because it's been a long time, and even more so if it's a 3D Donkey Kong game, as some rumors have implied. The other interesting part about this new Mario Kart reveal, though, is that there's 15 players instead of the usual 12. So when I first saw this, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Well, maybe this is just Mario Kart 8, but with another expansion. But because there's more players, that makes me think that this is indeed Mario Kart 9, because that's a fundamental change in how the game is played. So if this is indeed Mario Kart 9, as I kind of expect, well, then Nintendo already has an immediate system seller for the Switch 2. Mario Kart 8 sold 60 million copies, so there will be a lot of excitement this holiday whenever Nintendo has this new console and also Mario Kart 9. I mean, that would be an amazing holiday gift for a lot of families out there. Now, as for the rest of their games, though, they revealed that they will hold a Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd. This is when we'll probably learn a lot more about the Switch 2, that mouse-like feature, the mysterious C button, its games, its release date, and also its price. Admittedly, though, the fact that we do have to wait, I am a little bit disappointed because we have to wait another 3 months. That seems like a rather large gap between such a small console reveal and a full-blown reveal. I mean, it is what it is. At least we do have a console reveal now. We can kind of put that in our rearview mirrors. But hopefully with an April blowout, they'll then unlock its pre-orders almost immediately, and then we'll get its launch a few months after that. That's what I'm kind of hoping for right now. The rumors that it will release between April and June, though, still seems to be very realistic based on the information that we have. I mean, maybe a July release if they want a little bit more time to hype it up. But honestly, I think this thing already is as hype as it possibly can get. But, whenever it does release, the wait's almost over, and I'm absolutely just super pumped for this thing. I mean, I'm just such a huge fan of Nintendo games and Nintendo consoles. I grew up as a Nintendo kid, so I'm honestly just super excited to see what they can do with this extra horsepower. This very well likely will be the first time since the Nintendo 64 to the GameCube that we'll see a true generational leap in visuals for their first-party games. And that means franchises like Zelda, Metroid, Pokemon, and Xenoblade can take things to the next level. That, to me, is just super, super hype. Now, speaking of their games, there is still one more mystery that we need to talk about, and you can see it right here at the end of its reveal. They said plays Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games as well as Nintendo Switch games. Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. Certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported on or fully compatible with Nintendo Switch 2. Details will be shared on the Nintendo website at a later date. Now, that almost makes it seem like they might reveal that information before their April Direct, and I think it's important that they do, simply because that will keep people invested in the current library of Switch games. Otherwise, some people might stop buying Switch games until they get that information and what's compatible. But on one side, it is nice that they at least confirmed that the Switch 2 will support both digital and physical Switch games. There was actually a lot of hysteria last year that it might only support digital games, but there you go. Fret not, it will support physical as well. However, certain games may not work. Now, I'm expecting this to be far few and between. Sony actually said something very similar leading up to the release of the PlayStation 5, and I think one of the reasons for that is because it basically covers themselves for a rare game that may not work on their new console. This might simply be because of a different control scheme or just something entirely different. But either which way, I'm expecting the vast majority of the Switch library to work on the Switch 2. For me, what I want to know is whether or not Switch 1 games will receive enhancements similar to how the Xbox Series X handles its backwards compatibility. Technically, Nintendo could utilize DLSS for enhancements, but I'm trying not to get my hopes up for this too much, so if anything, I guess we'll see. Overall, though, I'm really excited by what we're seeing here, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get more Switch 2 news as the week unravels. Now that it's 100% official, Nintendo revealed it themselves, well, that also means that companies are now free to announce their Switch 2 games. Let me know, though, what do you all think about the Switch 2 reveal? Did you like it or not? Let me hear it in the comments below, but until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.